So last year I made this owl and I absolutely love him. If you have not seen this video, go check it out. I'll put a link here, okay? So I absolutely think he's adorable, but I wanted to try something a little bit different this time. Instead of him facing forward, I want to have one facing the side, okay? And I also think what I'm going to do, this is going to be a snow owl. It's going to be white and gray, and I'm going to give him blue eyes. Let's see how that works. I know that's not common, but what the heck, it's going to be fun. So it's going to be very similar to this, but I'm going to change out a few things. I'm going to change the feathers, and probably around the eyes, I'm going to do it a little bit differently. We're going to try to make it so we're using less mesh. So, but I'm going to take you on this journey with me because I'm not sure how well it's going to work. Also, what I have today, I'm going to pair my wreath making with some wine. So, it's early in the morning yet, so I'm not going to drink anything, but I have this, it's called Uncaged. It's got a picture of an owl on here. I kind of thought, that's kind of cool, right? So I'm going to have some of this wine after I'm done with this wreath here. And I have this wine glass. I just painted some snowflakes on there a few years ago. And I just thought, a snow owl, we got snow, we got an owl, we're good. So we'll be drinking that later on. For the supplies that you're going to need, we're going to need 2 forms, one for the head, one for the body. Okay, I have a 12-inch for the head and a 14-inch for the body. The 14-inch you can get at any Dollar Tree. The 12-inch, I got this at Joann Fabrics, but I believe you should be able to get it a couple other places. I'm not positive, but I will put a link in the description for you where to find these. Okay. You're going to need some plastic canvas. This plastic canvas I got at Joann Fabrics, but you can get that also at Hobby Lobby or Michael's. Just make sure you get the 5 mesh. The 7 mesh has smaller holes. This one has a bigger hole. It's a lot easier to get your zip ties through because we are going to be using zip ties. I'm going to have links in the description of all where you can find all of this stuff, okay? Some of it is from Amazon, which I'm affiliate with Amazon, so I might make a couple cents off of each one. No extra cost to you, okay? So you are going to need some poly burlap. I do not know yet how much I'm going to be using. I will put that in the description also. But I have white poly burlap, which you're going to need a lot of. And then I have gray poly burlap. You really don't need a whole heck of a lot of this. We're not going to put a whole lot of gray in here, but just enough to define each petal. Okay. Then you need a glass cutting board, a cutting mat. You're going to need zip ties, wire cutters to cut the zip ties, and then a wood burner. But before we do anything, I'm going to put these forms together so you can see how we shape the owl and everything, and then we'll go from there. Okay, I'll see you here in a few. Okay, so I have my 14-inch form here and a 12-inch form here. What I did, I just traced out the inside of each of these forms with a Sharpie and cut it out using my old scissors. Admit it, we all have a pair of old scissors, and then we have the good scissors. So I just used that to cut that out, and I'm going to use 4-inch zip ties to attach it to the inside of each form. Okay, I have that for each one of these. Okay, and then I'll see you back here. So just a quick tip: when you're attaching the plastic canvas to the form, don't put the zip ties on too tight just yet. Because what you want to do, okay, see here I have it pretty darn loose. What I want to do is move the plastic canvas around because I want it to go straight across, okay, whenever I attach everything. So you can see how I have these crossbars here on the sides. I want the plastic canvas to go straight across right there, okay? I'm going to do that with both of these, which I've already lined up this with the crossbar, okay? So now I can tighten up the zip ties. Okay, so what I did here on both of these, I really, I went with my Sharpie as dark as I could so you can see the line that I have going from side to side that's right there in the middle, okay? And I did that with this one too. So what I'm gonna do, this is gonna be the top, this is gonna be the bottom of this. And I'm gonna kind of just slide that right in so they're kind of stuck together like this. And then I'm gonna use some 4-inch zip ties. Now you can kind of see where that crossbar and this crossbar are, they don't match up perfectly, but they're close. What I'm gonna do, I'm going to kind of get my 4-inch zip tie, kind of get that to stay together right there. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Okay, now this side I pulled too tight. I'm going to cut that off. And I'm just going to kind of, don't do it too tight, because we want them to be fairly even on either side. So now just kind of tighten each one up the best you can. Okay, so we're pretty even. Now you can see here where this kind of matches up together. I'm going to zip tie that together. Because otherwise it would still kind of flop backwards. So now it's pretty good. I think I'm going to, back here, there's this one and this one that kind of line up. I'll go ahead and zip tie those together too. That way, yeah, I'm just going to go through the plastic canvas. We don't want anything flopping around. Okay, got to put the zip tie in the right way. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to put these together. Kind of make sure nothing flops. We want this to be as sturdy as we possibly can get it. Okay, and I think it's pretty good. Okay, so from here, remember I said I wanted some tail feathers to come out. I want them to come out this direction. I don't think if I put anything on this bottom ring that it will extend enough for me. So I'm gonna have a little bit of fun and kind of create my own little form, just to kind of come out just a few inches, just so I can have that little bit more length where I want that tail to be. So I'll be right back. I'll show you what I'm going to do with this. Like I said, this is all impromptu. I don't know if it's going to work, but let's try it. Okay. Okay, so I have this 14 gauge wire. I got this off of Amazon, and I will put a link here for you. You don't have to get a large roll like this. I just have a large roll like this because I've been making forms for my angel wings. So I'm going to just cut, let's see how much this comes to. Okay, this is 16 inches long. Okay, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to kind of bend it here in the middle. And I want this to be like just about here. Okay. So I'm going to get some needle nose pliers. I got these little tiny needle nose pliers, and I'm going to try to attach them around this outer ring. Okay, so it wasn't pretty, but we got this on here. Right now it's kind of sliding around. I don't want to put it all the way over here because I think that'll be too far off to the side. We kind of want it going down. So I'm going to try to figure out a way to keep this in place. Okay, so I really like where this is going. You can see what I did, how I attached it. What I did, I put zip ties on either side of this new wire that I added. Okay, then I put one on either side, and then on either side of this crossbar. Okay, it's fairly sturdy, it's staying on. I'm liking where this is going, so hopefully this works. Okay, so I decided that I am going to use the same style petal for the tail as I'm going to do for the wing. And I'm going to use the same petal that I used in my angel wings. If you've not seen that video, I'll put that link in here for you. But what we're going to do, the poly burlap, okay, I am going to cut that into 10.5-inch pieces. Okay. And I'm going to use a wood burning tool to do that. And I'm going to stay within the lines of the poly burlap. So what I'm going to do from this point, I want this to be fused together on one side. So I am going to bring this down. Okay, I have the finished side on the top and the bottom. Okay, and something else I kind of always do, and I know it's crazy, but you see how this poly burlap has, how it has those rough edges? It's like that on one side, but the other side's kind of nice. I will fuse that side with the rough edges just because I don't like it as much and I don't want that to be seen. So, okay. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this right above where that finished edge ends. Okay? And I'm going to try to make this, line this up as good as I possibly can. And then I'm going to just fuse these together. Nice and slow. Make sure that that heat fuses both the top and the bottom together. Just like that. Okay? So, from this point, to make the petals, I'm going to flip this over in this direction. Okay. Let's move this glass aside. So I'm going to try to make sure I have just about an inch here at the bottom and kind of going all the way up to the top. Okay, you can see that. I'm going to flip this under. 1, 2, 3, squish. And I have this feather look right here. We got one edge here. You got 2 edges out of 1 fold. I'll take my 6-inch zip tie and zip it shut. Now you can use rubber bands, whatever you want to do. I just don't have any rubber bands. Plus I have a little phobia of rubber bands. So, but there you go. Just snip this off. And we're going to make a bunch of these. See how I have a line going straight across? I'm using that grid of the plastic canvas going along here. I'm trying to do the same thing here. Tried to make sure the grid was going straight across. That way I have everything kind of lined up. It's not exactly perfect, but it's close and I'm good with it. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put some a couple petals down here at the bottom, and I went 1.5 inches up, 1.5 inches up, and then that's going to be another 1.5 inches. From the 14-inch form to the corner here, it is just about 4 inches. And then from here to here is 7 inches. So you have an idea of how big I am making that tail right there. Okay? I forgot to point that out before. I want to go from right to left simply because as I am placing them side by side, this one will go on top of this instead of this going on top of this, and you're not seeing that good side. Okay, so if we go from right to left, then we'll just be placing these on top of each other. There's no messing around with the mesh or anything like that after we're done. So okay, so I'm going to start just about here, go into the plastic canvas, come back out. I'm actually 2 inches or 2 holes away. As long as you skip at least 1 hole, you're good. I skipped 2 holes, we're still good. Okay, and then I'm going to put another one here. Kind of going around that wire there. Okay, so I got 2 here on the bottom. I'm going to go, it looks like I should probably be able to do, I'm guessing, probably 4 across. Yeah, I think I'm going to do a 5th one going all the way over here and around that wire. Okay, so I'm going to go around the wire of this, the 14-inch ring form, and then I'm going to go like right in there. I just like to use a little bit of the wire. It kind of, I don't know, helps stabilize it, I guess. I'm going to kind of shove that under there between the 4th and the 5th ring. You can see I kind of just shoved that top part kind of through there. Okay, then I'm going to do 2 up here at the top, on that top line that I made. Again, shoving this top part kind of in between that 3rd and 4th ring. Okay. So kind of want to make sure these are kind of going straight, kind of straight down. Okay, because when we put the feathers on for the wing, I want that to kind of go more to the side. Yeah, this is what I'm kind of thinking here, like they would be facing more this way. So you can see there's going to be a difference between the tail feathers and the wing feathers just because of the way they're placed. So I'm going to make the petals for the body part of the owl. Okay, and it's basically, it's going to just be your basic sunflower petal, but I like to kind of make sure that it's, I still like to fuse it because it helps to keep it from fraying, and it just has a crisper edge. So I'm going to do the same thing where the finished side is on the top and the bottom. Bring the top down, kind of bring it to like where that finished edge just starts here at the bottom. And we're going to do the exact same thing that we did with the angel wings whenever we fused those. Okay, and I'm going to fuse this together. Okay, see how that's fused right there? I'm going to set this aside. And so what we're going to do when we make the petal, okay, I have the finished side here on top. Okay, I'm just going to kind of tuck this under, do a couple scrunches, and then I'm going to scrunch this up and then tuck that under. And then we have our petal. I like to kind of make several just so that we have, I can just kind of throw them on real quick instead of making and then putting it on. I make all of them at once and then I can put them all on together. Okay. So I'm also going to make these other feather petals that are very similar. It's the same angel wing type kind of feather. Okay, but see, I put some gray in here, and I'm going to show you how I did that while trying to use a little less mesh. Instead of fusing this together and adding the gray to it, I'm going to cut this in half. Okay, so what I have, it's kind of, I'm going to have the curl side down. Okay, and then my finished edge is going to be on the right top and bottom left. Okay, and then I'm just going to just use my rotary cutter and cut right up the middle. Okay, and I'm going to do the same with this, but I am going to make the curl side down, and it's going to be top left, bottom right. I know that sounds confusing, and I'll explain to you why I'm doing it this way. If you screw up, I'll show you where I screwed up, and I'll show you, kind of how to fix it, whatever. Okay, so I'm going to have, because this is going to come over like this, right? So this is going to be kind of up like this. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this where the finished side is here. Kind of try to make these corners match up. And then I'm going to, I don't want it to go all the way over to the corner. I kind of want it at least, you know, a quarter of an inch or maybe even a half an inch away from that finished edge. And that kind of needs to go a little bit over this way. Okay, so it's almost like this is matched up, but everywhere else it's not going to match up. But you're going to see why. Okay, I'm going to flip this over. And again, we're going to leave that about that inch there. Kind of tuck that under and squish. Okay, and there you have it. Now, if you do cut them the wrong way, okay, like these gray ones, I cut the wrong way. I cut them the exact same way as I did the white. Really, all you have to do is turn it over this way. I do want that finished edge to be sticking out on the bottom here. And whenever I flip this over, you won't even realize that that was kind of facing the wrong way. And it works out just perfectly fine. So I'm going to make several of these, several of the other angel wings feathers like this. Okay, and then I have these for the body. So I'm going to be doing a lot of all three, and I'll show you how I'm going to put these on. At least I have it in my head how I'm going to put these on. We'll see if it works. Okay, so you can see I decided where I want my lines. This middle line, unfortunately, I'm not going to be using that for the lines that where I'm going to put my zip ties. But from the bottom here, I went 2 inches, 2 inches, 2 inches, which is exactly 1 inch between this middle. Okay, so we're only going to use 1, 2, 3, 4 of the lines on the plastic canvas, but I'm going to be using part of the form too. So I'm going to show you where I'm going to start. Okay, I decided I want to put one of the body right here. You could also see I kind of free-handed where I want like this wing to go. So I'm going to have the body here and one big wing right here. Okay, so I'm going to do one of the body petals first. I'm going to kind of go down through, kind of right there, just above that crossbar. Okay. Now I'm going to use one of these wings that I have the gray. Okay. And I'm going to actually go down from here. I'm going to kind of use right here. Grab some more of my zip ties. Okay, I think I'm going to go like right here at the very bottom. down right where I kind of made that imaginary line of where I want my wing to be. Okay. And like I said, I don't want this to be straight up and down. I want this to be a little bit off to the side. Not exactly a 45-degree angle, although this does look pretty much 45, but I do want it to kind of go off to the side a little bit. And then I'm going to go between a gray, white, gray, white. So I'm going to go 7 holes. That's almost about 1.5 inches in between each of these. And this one's going to be a pure white one. I think I'm going to go ahead and put one right about here. I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to do this because I want to make sure that all these feathers are over top of what I am putting over here. So I might go ahead and do the body all the way up first. That's what I am going to do. Okay. I'm going to go up about these 2 inches. Let's see if this should be wide enough that it's not going, that the form's not going to show through. Yeah, that's going to be fine. And again, this is staying with that 3rd ring from the outside. But this is going to go, I am going to have that slight curve so it kind of goes over that outside ring. Make sure that the ring is hidden. Okay, so this is all the body petals that I have done anyway. So I'm going to stop here. I'll probably make a couple more to kind of go up around this way, but for right now, this is good. This is kind of where I want this to be. You can see this is just like a nice, soft look here. Okay, so over here, I'm gonna have to kind of pick this up a little bit so that I can see where I want to put the wing petal. Okay, and I kind of want to stay with that arch that I made. Okay, so I really like this so far. And I can see I only have 2 of the gray and 1 of the white made. I'm going to have to make some more of these wing petals. But this is looking good. You could definitely, there's definitely some definition between everything. So that's exactly what I wanted. And I'm going to stop here. I'm going to make some more, and then I'm going to do this last row here, okay? And I'll be back. Okay, so I made some more petals, and as I was doing that, I kind of set this up, took a picture of it to see what I liked, what I didn't like, where it was so far. Okay, first thing, I think it seems like I have too much gray in here so far. I thought every other petal would make it okay, but it does seem like a little bit too much gray, but I'm going to stick with it. I still might take one of these top ones out, just because it's easy for me to access. Okay, and the other thing that I'm thinking, I want to do just a couple of these on the left-hand side so that this wing kind of comes out just a little bit more. I want to put one more petal over on the side here. But I think I like that coming out just a little bit more like that. Okay. Now, I'm going to take this middle gray one off. I'm going to use a little bit more gray as I go further up, but I'm going to try, at least with this, to not have so much gray right there. Okay. And I'll just put a white one there. So now we are going up, and I want to make sure these wing petals are going over top of the breast petals. So you might have to kind of fold that in just a little bit so that we can get this to go over top. So now I'm going to go up to the next one here. Okay, so I'm going to go up one more. Okay, so you see I have one breast petal over here and 3 more white wings going over. Okay, so I think we're good with that. So here, if you saw my other owl wreath that I did, what we want to do, we want to have between the head and the body some ruffled feathers. So I'm going to just use some 10 by 10 pieces, okay? And let me show you how I make the petal real quick. Okay, let's see. So I have just a 10 by 10 piece. What I'm going to do, I'm going to kind of bring it down like this, and bring it over. That way we have several points. Okay. I know it looks messy, but that's what we want. We want a ruffled feather. So I'm just going to kind of put this together like this. Okay, and there you go. It's just, I know it's very, very goofy looking, whatever. But when we put this on, like I said, we want it to look like, I mean, like the owl of the neck. It's very ruffled right there. And then we're going to cut this off up here at the top. I'll grab my scissors real quick. Just cut that off. Cut that. And I'm going to make 5 of these. And then I'm going to put these along here. Okay? I'll be right back after I make the rest of these petals. Okay, so here we are. I have these and I'm going to attach them like on this crossbar through to this crossbar, but on this 3rd ring. Okay. Okay, so now we got the ruffled feathers around the neck, and now we want to go with the head and face. So we are going to be using completely different petal styles. I'm going to need to put on here where I want my eyes to be. So I got a little bit of work to do, and I'll be right back and show you what I need to do. Okay? Okay, so we are going to now do a Star Trek petal for the head, the face, the eyes, everything. So all you need to do, take one corner, bring it down to the other. And when you cut your 10 by 10 pieces, you do not have to worry about using a wood burning tool, because there's not going to be any edge lines showing. So you're not going to worry about fraying. So I just use a rotary tool to cut, and I'm going to take one corner down to the other. Okay. Then one corner to the other. So here we are. And when I do this double edge, I like to make sure that the top edge just barely goes over the one on the bottom. And then just kind of squeeze these edges together and push this down. Okay, and the reason I make sure that top edge is just slightly over, you can't tell that that's a double edge from the top. Okay, now what I just an additional little step here, I want to curl this down to the outside like that. And now I like to measure to make sure we are at 5 inches, because I want all of these to be pretty much the same. Okay, and there you go. Now from this point, I want to take what's up here and cut this off. Okay, and you're left with that. Okay, so I hope you can see what I did here. We already had that line going across. I knew that was in the middle there. I used my cutting mat to make a line down the middle. So I know right where the very center of my wreath is, well, of the head. And then I went ahead and used these wooden circles. These are what I'm going to paint to make the eyes. Okay, and I used my Sharpie and made circles where I assume my eyes will be. And I tried to, I went 4 from the center, and I tried to make sure they were pretty even on the top and the bottom, so we're pretty good there. Okay, and so now I got that much done. I'm going to go ahead and start putting these petals on around the side, all of these Star Trek petals that I made. And I'm going to put 5 all the way around on each section. And I'm not going to worry about that bottom section, but we have these 5 sections from here on over, okay, that we are going to want to put these petals on. And I'm going to put them all on this second row from the outside, okay? And I will meet you back here. So I have this head done. I got 5 pieces in each section. Again, this is on the second ring from the outside. As I was looking at it, I kind of noticed that this here on this side and this here on this side, the wire is still showing, and we don't want that. So what I'm going to do, I have one more petal on either side to put over here. So I'm going to put one, again, it's going to be on the second ring from the outside. And just kind of put it where it looks good, basically. I want to make sure this goes over top of it. Kind of get this in there nice and good there. We want to make sure any wires are hidden, and we don't want to see any zip ties either. That looks a lot better. Okay, going to do the same thing over on this side. Where we have that wire showing. Okay, and I'm going to slide that up. Make sure that these petals go over top of it. So, okay, so that there looks better. Okay, let's get back up to the head. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do 4 zip ties right along here, and then 3 right here. I'm not quite to the inner ring. I'm about 3 holes up. And I'm going to put another one of these in here. That's the same exact petal as what I did around the head. Okay, so I got these on here. Now I'm going to do 6 right along the top here, right next to this inner ring. I'll do 6 there and then 3 right here. And then we're going to do the nose. What I did, I stopped just before that line that I made, that I traced out for the eyes. So I'm just outside of those lines there. Okay, now I'm going to go 3 here. Okay, so now I need to work on the nose and then we'll start on the eyes. Okay, I'll be right back. So for the nose, this is what I'm going to do here. I'm going to do basically the same exact petal as we've been doing. I'm going to take one corner up to the other and fold down. Okay, now I kind of want to stretch it just a little bit because I want it to be long. Okay, so there's that. Then I'm going to kind of fold this in, and then fold it up. And this is going to be our nose. Let's just kind of get this secure. I want to make sure I got that under this zip tie. Okay. Clip that off, and then I'll cut this off. But this here is going to be our nose. It's nice and long, okay? I think that'll work really well. And then as for what we're going to do around the eyes, these are the exact same thing. Still, they're 5 inches long, but we're going to have them turned up this way, so we don't need that there in the center. Just kind of push that down. And again, we kind of want to make these like a little longer. Okay, just kind of pull on them, kind of scrunch them, whatever you need to do. But we kind of we want that concave look. Okay, so I'm going to put my zip tie right here in the center. That center point that I made. And I'm going to put the nose right there. Got to make sure all the folded sides are facing down so nobody sees that. And now we're going to go with the eyes. Again, these are all going to be facing up, and I'm going to make sure I have that nice concave look to all of them. Remember, I made that circle using the wooden circles that I'm using for the eyes. Well, I'm going to make sure I stay within that, and I'm going to go, I don't know, maybe a 1/2 inch in. And I'm gonna use smaller ones right here. So I'm gonna go from here and around the outside. And I'm gonna keep my zip ties extremely close to each other. So I made sure I placed the nose on top of that last one that I put in there. Now I'm going to try to fit 3 small ones in here. And in order to do these smaller ones, what I'm going to do, I'll show you real quick. I'm going to make some 5 by 5 pieces. Okay, this one's already cut 5 inches. Okay, and then I'm going to cut this another 5. Okay, so we got a 5 by 5 square, the exact same fold. Okay, bring one corner over to the other. Okay, and then bring it down, kind of shove it in, and then use a zip tie. Here you can use a 4-inch if you have one handy, which I don't. Okay, so I'm going to use just a 6-inch here. Okay, and we are going to make sure these are about 2.5 inches. Just cut that. We'll trim this off, and you'll come up with something like this. Okay, and again, push that in to make sure it's good and concave. So I have 3 of these small ones made, and I'm going to put them right here. Try my best to get them to fit there. And we just kind of want to cover like the nose a little bit. And this is awfully tight. So this is extremely tight, but we want to make sure that this circle will cover all of those zip ties, okay, which it will, but yeah, we had to have that all kind of in there. And I think, so 9 big ones and 3 small ones work out great. Okay, so I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side. So this is with the eyes, well, the eye feathers done. Okay, and you can see I kind of had to like move the nose around a little bit just to kind of make sure it kind of stuck out from these feathers, but I think it's good. Okay, so now all we have to do is make the actual eyes. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to paint them. I already took the liberty of painting them this gorgeous blue. Okay, it's called Blue Bonnet. This is by the Apple Barrel. Okay, now this is just the matte acrylic. It doesn't matter if you use matte or like a shiny, it doesn't matter. Just make sure it's all the same. That's my personal opinion. Okay, and what I'm going to do, I have this lid here, and I'm just going to trace a circle. Okay, and that is going to be my pupil. I'm going to paint the middle of it black, and then I'm going to paint around the outside. And I'll meet you back here whenever I'm done with that. Okay? As you can see, I painted the center here. That's the pupil, and then I did black around the outside. If you don't want to use paint, shoot, go ahead and use the black magic marker that you have, the Sharpie. It'll work out just fine. Okay? In fact, I used the Sharpie to make a couple touch-ups. But in order to do the outside, I ended up gluing a wire to the back first. What I did, I took this stem wire, which is 18 inches long. I cut it in half and then bent that half in half. Made it about an inch wide here and kind of flattened that out and glued it on to the back there. Okay. And it just made it a lot easier for me to paint around the sides and everything. Okay. And here, now I am going to go ahead and use this wire to attach these eyes to the wreath. I do want to add a little white to this just to kind of help give these eyes a little bit more personality. Okay, so I am going to just put each one down through, kind of shove it through the mesh the best that I can and in through the plastic canvas. And once we get that done, I will show you how I'm going to paint that little bit of white. Okay, so I'm just going to do a little bit of white. I have this extremely thin paintbrush, and I'm just going to ever so slightly dab a little bit of white on there. And I think what I'm going to do just like a little dot up here. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Okay, do like another dot, smaller one right there. Same thing over here. And then I'm going to kind of get some more off of there because I'm going to make this super, super thin. And just do like a super light down at the bottom. Just a little bit of something to give it a little bit of sparkle. I might make those dots up on top a little bit bigger. Not too big. And that's it. Make it nice and soft. I may even go just a little bit into the blue. Over here. We got a little bit of sparkle there. Okay, now we're done. I'm going to show you the finished product, the whole thing. So let's have a toast. One more wreath video done. Didn't he turn out adorable? I love him. He's long. He turned out to be 38 inches long and 22 wide. But I love how the eyes turned out on him. I really love it. So I don't know what I'm going to name him yet. I named the other one Al. I don't know what I'm going to name this one yet. Let's figure out a name for him. But I have my wine that I got at the beginning of the video. It has a picture of an owl on it. It's called Uncaged. But I figure nice glass of wine, a finished wreath. We're going to celebrate. So Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Patty Davis. I'm with Crooked Tree Creations, and I'll see you in our next video.